This has been a moment of epic level refreshment brought to you by Critical Hit Soda, sponsors of today's episode. Go to criticalhitsoda.com or any of the links in the description to find out more and support their upcoming Kickstarter.
This is Daniel.
And this is Krebs.
This is Alton.
And I am Matai.
And you're listening to Dungeon Crawlers Radio, the greatest geek podcast out there. All right, everyone, welcome to another episode of Dungeon Crawlers Radio, where we have an exciting guest. That's right. You know, every now and then we love to bring in Kickstarters. Now, this one is a little special. We've got some really cool things. If you listen to our previous episode, we were talking to author Tracy Hickman. He mentioned Critical Hit Soda. Well, we have Beau Sampson, the wonderful person that Tracy talked about, on this episode to talk about his upcoming Kickstarter. And, well, you probably noticed something. If you're watching the video, we've already bonded. I'm a huge Superman fan. He is a huge Supergirl fan. If you're looking at the video, you see this massive thing. And not only that, I am a huge fan of the game Shadows of Brimstone from Flying Frog, and so is Beau. So we've already bonded. So welcome to the show. Thanks for coming on. And we're really excited to find out from you, what is Critical Hit Soda? And where did this start?
Awesome. Guys, thank you so much for having us. And yeah, Supergirl rocks, Shadows of Brimstone. So, Dan, whenever you want to get a game in, please let me know.
Oh yes.
We'll make it happen. But no, great question. Thank you so much for asking. So, Critical Hit Soda, your question was, how did it start, correct?
Yes. Yeah,
okay.
And what is it?
So, Critical Hit Soda, for anybody any of your listeners who are Utah-based, they'll be familiar with the soda phenomenon. The soda shops that just are peppered all
Popping
over
up
the Utah state.
Everywhere,
yeah. So it's this fun and novel concept of taking just your everyday plain Jane sodas, Mountain Dew, root beer, Pepsi, whatever, mixing it with interesting syrups to create these new flavor combinations. Now, typically, these soda shops use just whatever's kitschy at the time. Just whatever is meme worthy at the time. That's the name that they'll slap onto a drink. So we decided to take that concept, but theme it all on Dungeons and Dragons. But that's getting a little ahead of the story there a little bit. Stepping back to, gosh, when did we go to Gen Con, Aaliyah, that we first were introduced to? Was it
2018?
2018? 2018? 2018. Okay. So my family and I had a little bit of investment capital that we wanted to leverage into a new revenue stream. And so we had no idea what to do with it, though. So kind of just being aware of our surroundings and looking for inspiration, my brother-in-law, my oldest son, and myself, we took our yearly brocation to Gen Con. And
as you should.
As we should, absolutely.
As one should.
Yeah, so the three of us, when we get to Gen Con, oh my God, we burn the place down. It's not safe. We have a lot of fun. So anyway, so anybody who goes to Gen Con is aware of Georgia Street. Georgia Street is completely blocked off.
Yep.
Rows of food trucks are brought in. And now I always get, and I actually have one here, so I always go look for the Gen Con specific cup. I forget what year this is from. Oh, 2023. That's when this one's from. I always go try and find that because I added to the collection, and I've just got a whole row of them somewhere in my house. But I was having a hard time finding one this year, and I kept seeing people walk by with these like metal mugs. And finally, I stopped a guy and I said, "Hey, where'd you get that?" Because I was like, "Oh wow, this year instead of being this plastic cup, it's this metal mug. This is a banner year." Anyway, they directed our attention to the soda truck lineup out on Georgia Street, and there was a vendor out there, and they've become really, really wonderful friends of us, friends of the truck. So shout out to Wild Bill's Craft Soda. They're
love
amazing
those guys.
soda.
Yes.
Love Wild Bills.
Yeah, absolutely, just incredible and incredible people. But we were walking around out there. We went and bought our mugs. I think I ended up paying it was something close to $50 for the mug plus unlimited refills for the weekend. And then as we were walking around, we were noticing that of a year when I think they had 55,000 people attending that year, give or take. we were noticing that at least a third, if not closer to a half of the people that we were observing had a mug dangling from their backpack in their hand, something like that. We're like, oh my gosh, this is something incredible. And so we were aware of the soda phenomenon back home. So I came home from Gen Con, and I approached my wife, who's just off camera here, taking care of a little baby at the moment. But I came home and I said, hey, we've just been introduced to this concept of sodas at an event. And from there, it really just developed. We just started workshopping this idea. She grabbed onto it right away. And that's, I think, the first litmus test of the viability of something is, does the wife grab onto it? Does the wife agree to it? We could continue to have this conversation then. But yeah, so the notion of building, now we operate in the food truck space, but we've built this into a trailer. So we built a trailer for several strategic reasons that we don't necessarily need to bore everybody with at this moment. But suffice to say, we built it into a trailer. And the evolution of theming it on Dungeons & Dragons was an almost instantaneous revelation. And then from there, the floodgates were open. Like, we could do all these things, name everything after Dungeons & Dragons related things, monsters, magic items, and spells. And then we could, naming all the sizes. So instead of saying a small, medium, or large, it's level 1, level 5, level 10. Just anything that we could just tie it into Dungeons & Dragons, purely out of the love of Dungeons & Dragons.
Nice.
And it was a really fast revelation to have a conversation with my wife about how I don't think we're selling a product here, was my comment. I think we're selling an experience. That's what we're doing. Is when somebody orders a Barbarian Rage, it's not because they like the flavor combination of it, which that's certainly there. But ideally, when they're getting that, when they're ordering it, they're recalling a moment when their Barbarian raged and something amazing happened, like some huge amazing fight, and this Barbarian Rage opportunity just turned the tide. Or what have you, an amazing use of a lightning bolt, an amazing use of a fireball, just all of these things. Vampire is a very popular drink in our Pepsi category, and it's a very dark, brooding drink, and it's wonderful.
No, I think you're hitting on something with all cylinders there.
Thank you.
I can't tell you the number of panels I've sat on and talked on, let alone ones that I've sat in and listened to, especially around tabletop gaming, whether it's D&D, Pathfinder, or whatever. You always have the panelists or even people talking about those moments when their character did something amazing or their character did some epic fail. Because, like you said, Barbarian Rage. The second you said that, I'm like, oh, yeah, there's that one time that one guy in the group raged out and they slayed everyone because he couldn't stop raging. There's always those moments. So it sounds like you've been able to capture on that magic to not only here's a drink, but now they're bringing up those memories. They're remembering past gaming sessions, or wow, I haven't been a barbarian for a while. Maybe I should go play a barbarian again.
Absolutely. And the coup de grace, the capstone of all of the experience was we worked into everything the opportunity to roll a D20, which is, of course, the core concept of Dungeons and Dragons, is the opportunity to roll a D20. So we called our soda truck Critical Hit Soda, and to capitalize on that, to tie all that in, we came up with the idea that you should roll a D20 every time you order a drink, and something awesome has to happen if you critically hit. Well, we just decided to make it a flat, you get 20% off that drink. So you come up, you order 3 drinks, you get 3 rolls. If the Wyvern, you critically hit on the Wyvern, you get 20% off on the Wyvern. The Wyvern is a Dr. Pepper based drink. Am I correct on that, Dr. Pepper? Yes, a Dr. Pepper based drink. Anyway, so yeah, we have so much fun with it, and the critical hits are celebrated just as fervently as the critical misses are celebrated, and this takes us to the next amazing manifestation of this die rolling component, is that it has turned that interminable line that we all have to stand in when we want to go to a ride or get something. We have to stand in this line. It has turned this line into a show for everybody to participate in. And it's amazing because when somebody is rolling the dice, and we have these large D20s, these large foam 20s that you're meant to roll on the ground, and everybody gets to watch you roll, and it is absolutely an amazing experience. When that 20 hits, the line erupts with cheers and applause. And then when it rolls a critical fumble, the entire line
Everyone
is in
groans.
mourning.
Yeah.
It's a unifying experience for everybody, and it takes away the doldrum of just standing there waiting for your turn to place your order. But it turns it into an entire party. It's absolutely amazing.
No, it sounds amazing, and I love the fact that it's not. I've seen some people where they're selling dice and they get to do that die roll, but it's just right in front of them. It's not. You're making it a spectacle where everyone is a part of that. Everyone's participating. They get to cheer for the 20 roll. They get to groan in dismay for the one, because everyone does it. Every game table I've been at, when someone rolls a one, they're like, "Oh, glad it's not me. It's you.
Yep.
Hope you don't shoot me." So that's fantastic and amazing.
Thank you so much.
So then,
it's a blast.
So then, a question for you is why D&D?
Oh, because I've been playing Dungeons & Dragons. I was introduced to Dungeons & Dragons when I was 12 years old by my cousin. And case in point, Tracy Hickman and Margaret Weiss come into this. He ran me through a few sessions of Dungeons & Dragons during a family reunion in Colorado one year. And upon parting, to go back to our respective homes, he said, "Hey, if you're really serious about playing Dungeons & Dragons, you have to go read this book, Dragons of Autumn Flame." So I went home and I got it and read it, and I was, I was already hooked, of course, but that just absolutely galvanized me. But why Dungeons & Dragons? Because I've been passionately involved in playing Dungeons & Dragons since I was 12 years old, and from it, I developed the best friends I had ever developed in my entire life, and that started before I moved out of, coincidentally, mine and Krebs' own hometown. We're from the same hometown.
Yes, we are.
Wow.
So moving out of Modesto, let's see, when did we move out of Modesto? When I was...
Not soon enough.
Some 20 years later, between the time of 12 and 32, when I finally left Modesto to seek my fortunes out in the wild. We just it was just such an amazing experience to matriculate with such amazing people.
Well, not only that, I mean, it sounds like the birthplace of the idea happened at Gen Con, which obviously a fantastic place to have that joy of gaming. I can't. There's been so many times I played Dungeons and Dragons there with just random people, just sitting at a table and like, hey, let's just play an encounter, and someone's running a game and it's fun and silly. It's not only that; it's a unifying game. If done right, it unifies people and brings them together.
So we heard the backstory on how this evolved from your youth and your experiences, Beau, but you also mentioned that you got your wife involved in this as well. And so I'm curious, how hard a sell was that for her, or what was her background like that made her jump on board on this so fast?
Jump on board the truck or jump on board Dungeons & Dragons, or both?
Oh, well, hey, let's just do both. But I was thinking Critical Hit was, you made Critical Hit because of your D&D past, and then you were talking to your lovely wife about this, and she's like, yeah, this is a great idea. But that often means that then she has some empathy for where you're coming from. Sounds like she has a background in this as well.
She does.
Hopefully the truck she was jumping on was going really slow.
It was a Shadows of Brimstone truck, so it couldn't go fast.
It couldn't. It's too overladen. Yeah, with too much.
Too heavy.
Yeah, for sure. Certainly one of the selling points of the soda truck was, and this was some place we wanted to go with this, was, again, we wanted to develop just an additional revenue stream. We had this money to invest in something, and the notion of something that we could do as a family was very much a part of this. And when we came up with this, it was, we could just go do 1 or 2 events a month, maybe. we could go do it together. My wife and I could run it. We have some children that are teenage, and below that can be a part of it, and so we can go spend the weekend working hard, bonding, spending this time together, and so that's really the family foundation upon which it was grounded in. Now we're here today talking about it because this very humble attempt to do something with the family has absolutely exploded into this amazing phenomenon that has just invaded the gamer landscape. From California, from the West Coast all the way to Indianapolis. We haven't really gone further than Indianapolis yet, but anywhere in between, if there's an event, we get questions all the time. Are you going to be at this event? So there's not an event that doesn't happen now, and it just touches our hearts to no end that people want us at events, and we try to get out to all of them, but there's only one truck at the moment, so. So there you go. But let's get back to the other question. So that answers. I hope that answers the question as to what really seeded her in her interest and support of this notion. So the D&D aspect. So she was a non-gamer when we met, but we met in my game store. That's how we came to meet. Now, Krebs, you should remember the Gauntlet back in Modesto.
Yes.
And I don't know if you knew this, but I ended up buying the Gauntlet.
I did not know that.
There you go. Yeah, so I actually ran the Gauntlet for some 10 odd years.
Oh wow.
And it was great times. And so that was where I met my wife. So the story there is that I bought the Gauntlet from the previous owner, who remained a tremendously close friend of mine up until his passing some years ago. And so immediately upon signing the papers of ownership for the store, the landlord walked in and said, "You got to go." Just congratulations on the acquisition.
Get out!
Hit the bricks.
Wow.
So that was our first hurdle to overcome. Anyway, so we did relocate the store. We had to shut it down for about a month, but while we found a new location, we did find a new location. And in finding that new location, of course, you bring in new potential clientele. Young individuals who don't have cars or a great way to mobilize. And one of those individuals was a young man by the name of Chad. And he came in and he wanted to know what was going on. He had no idea what gaming was. And we quickly introduced him to Dungeons & Dragons and Warhammer 40K and all these other things. And he really quickly became a fixture of the store and a very good friend of the store. And through that... I was planning not through that. Okay, so I was planning an event of indoor rock climbing, which I was big into at the time. If anybody's done indoor rock climbing, how many people does it take? It takes two people, right?
Two people. Yep.
One to belay while one climbs. And so at the end of my shift, I had my friends all into it, and I had them arrayed in front of me. But whatever the number was, we had 5 people, we had 7 people, we were an odd man out. And so... just going down the list, I said, "Hey guys, come on, somebody's going to be, out of luck if we don't find somebody." So I went down the list. Do you know somebody? Do you know somebody? You got to know somebody. How about you? Do you know somebody? And I got to the end of the line of the semicircle friends in front of me. Nobody knew anything, and so just not taking no for an answer. I said, "Okay, look, I'm just going to go back the other way." And I went back. You got to know somebody. Come on, you have to know somebody. Pull out your phone. Look, anybody. Anyway, I got to the middle of the semicircle right in front of me where Chad was standing. And where Chad was standing, the landscape had changed. Something was different. There was a girl standing next to him where there wasn't one a moment ago. And I said, "Chad, who is that? I don't care. You're coming with us. Let's go." I had my even person. I didn't even give her a chance to answer the question. I was just so focused on getting this group mobilized and organized and out to the range. And so I spent the entire day just making sure that everybody was harnessed and safe and everything like that. And of course, I thought she was just adorably cute, but I was too busy right now. Too busy organizing this group. Anyway, so. What brought her there? That's the big question. What brought her there? She was walking past the store. We were right next to a nail salon / tan salon, and I don't care which one I pick. It's always the wrong one. Was she there to get her nails done? Was she there to get a tanning session in. I always get it wrong, so I don't know what it was. She was leaving that business. She was passing hours, and she said, "Oh, my good friend Chad is always hanging out here. I'm just going to step in and see if he's there." And sure enough, he was, because he always is. And that was where she inserted herself into this configuration of friends in front of me when I came upon her. And so that's how we met. So thinking that I was just the sexiest man she'd ever seen, she started coming by the shop more often to hang out. And, of course, we were always playing games. And if she's going to hang out with us, she's got to play games. So she was introduced to Dungeons & Dragons, and it was a pretty easy sell, the notion of Dungeons & Dragons.
Sounds like kismet. I think so.
Yeah,
She just
that is.
happened to be there, and she's with me.
There you go.
That's amazing.
There you go. And yeah, she's been our dedicated cleric ever since. So
Lovely.
there you go. I don't know how she gets roped into the support role every single time. I try to encourage her, do something else, do anything else. Come on, but she always just falls back on, no, I just want to be help. I just want to help everybody. Nobody picked cleric, so I'll just do it. So
One day someone's going to pick a cleric and she's going to be like, am I the bard now?
right?
No, she could still stay a cleric. Just go war domain and arm yourself up and start going into town and killing stuff. She doesn't have to be
Fantastic.
help
There you
and
go.
support.
The day she goes like tiefling rogue. That's the day you know you've entered the darkest timeline.
Yeah,
Absolutely. There you go.
Something's
It's,
wrong. Oh no, what did I do?
I'll keep an eye out for that. Yeah, I'll look for the goatee.
yeah.
Shows up with a mustache and goatee. That's it. It's over. It's over at that point.
Excellent. Yeah, little community reference there.
Yes. That's what I always think of. I always think of Abed and the goatee.
Right?
Well, I mean that comes from the dark timeline of Star Trek.
Yeah,
Star Trek.
Yeah,
with,
the
with
alternate
Spock.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah, the mirror
Exactly.
universe.
The mirror universe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Absolutely.
It wouldn't be
hilarious.
called the darkest timeline until Community. But
Yes.
That's correct.
Yep.
But we digress.
But we
Look at
digress,
that.
absolutely.
We're all over the place.
Hey, Dungeon Crawlers, Alton here. We all love supporting homegrown businesses from geeks like us, and we're proud to support Critical Hit Soda, the sponsors of this episode. They've been serving epic-level refreshment to the community over the last few years at conventions and local game stores, and now we want to help them level up and put amazing loot into your inventory at the same time. Go to criticalhitsoda.com or the link in the description to receive a special bonus when you pre-register and back their Kickstarter, launching July 31st. Thank you for helping me and the crew at Dungeon Crawlers Radio support a business I love. Now, back to the episode.
So you've told us this beautiful story of how you bamboozled your wife and also how you got involved with this awesome, amazing custom soda truck endeavor. I was going to call it the soda trailer, but it really does kind of underdo what you've accomplished,
Sure.
right? Like, I don't want to do that. I think what you've accomplished here, irrespective of the vehicle of conveyance, is pretty remarkable. How you've tapped into the culture, you've tapped into your audience in a way that I think is very, very special.
Thank you.
But as you are well aware, as a savvy businessman yourself, a business must evolve. It cannot stagnate or it dies, which then means that there's probably something in the near future for Critical Hit Soda. So where are you taking this business next?
So I have to give credit to where credit is due, and that's to my amazing brother-in-law, Ray, who's a part of this Critical Hit Soda team. At Gen Con, for instance, he takes time off work, and he is a champion. He sits at that table for 12 hours a day, taking everybody's orders, just cranking that line. So he's a huge fan of the truck, and he's a valuable member of this team. But you've hit the nail on the head. We were dealing with the crisis of what do we do next to expand this. And as I kind of touched on just a moment or two ago, when I was talking about events calling us, and just the fans always asking, are you going to be at this event? Are you going to be at that event? And I said it a few minutes ago, there's only one truck, so we can only be at one place at a time. So that began to be our first thought of expansion was, should we get a second truck? Labor, just all the nuances of spinning up a second truck. Finding the right person to pull the trailer, so that it can safely arrive at a destination. So we need to have somebody with a truck and trailer pulling skill set, a whole bunch of things. Now, problems, sure, but nothing that isn't overcomable. All you need to do is just really stick in there and just start driving at a solution and just work one problem after another. So I'm not trying to suggest that these problems were too much. On the contrary, we were just trying to be cognizant of all the problems. Well, he was the one who said, you know what, second truck is a great idea, but really what you need to do is you need to get this soda out to as many people as possible, and that is through canning and national distribution, making them available wherever we can get them. Whatever store will take them. Targeting game stores, of course. That's our chief demographic. So I can't say that I have ever been to a game store that didn't have some kind of soda cooler or beverage available to to the customers to come in. Some concession sales. So and the second he said it, I was like, absolutely, that's what we need to do. So we started working on the idea of getting this our product canned and developed and out for distribution. So that's where the idea came from, and that's what we're up to next. Is we're trying to get to a point where we can get our signature flavors into a food laboratory to develop the correct flavor blend, and then find a canning partner, which we have developed all those relationships already. But suffice to say, that is the next evolution of Critical Hit Soda, is taking this into cans and getting them into as many supermarkets, convenience stores, game stores chiefly, as we could possibly get ourselves into. So
and it's really interesting. I've had the pleasure of working on this a little bit with Beau, getting to go behind the scenes and see what's going on. And one of the things that's been really important to him from the beginning is incorporating all of the existing fans, everybody who's really helped Critical Hit grow to this point. And so, Beau, earlier you were mentioning being able to roll a die at the trailer to get a discount on the soda. But as I understand, there may be some gamification, some ways to be able to improve those rolls that could be a part of this Kickstarter.
Well, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a great question. So this idea came about because we constantly... Okay, so it's one of those jokes where it's just a common joke, and you hear it a lot, and you have to put on the brave face like you've never heard this joke before. And it's the funniest thing you've ever heard. It is what it is. We always get this comment like, I'm a level 5 fighter, I have expanded crit range, right? Or I'm a whatever level thief, so I get I get a backstab bonus, or anyway. So they take different forms based on the different rules that you could potentially apply from Dungeons and Dragons, and it's wonderful. It's wonderful that the people are thinking that. They're because that's the whole point. Is there because they usually say my character is a 5th level fighter and he has expanded crit range. Do I get that here? But they're really internalizing or externalizing their character and trying to bring it into the soda experience, which with as much chagrin and resignation as we do have, we always have to say no. That doesn't really work. But we kept coming away from this repeated experience thinking, well, this is a real thing. People are really thinking about the advantages that their character progression, their level character progression, has granted them, and wanting to incorporate that in some capacity. So that has to be achievable in some capacity. Yeah. So, but how to do it? And so we've settled on the pin phenomenon that is dominating, that is just steamrolling over the convention experience. We don't go to a single convention where people are just bedecked with pins from their favorite booths and the event itself, and their pin collection is a roadmap, a history of their participation over the years in the events that they love so much. So, trying to participate in that beloved history, we decided to come up with rules pins that allow you to gain access to a critical hit with a much higher frequency. So we're going to bring in rules like expanded crit range. You get a critical hit on a 19 or 20. So if you have the pin that says 19 to 20, boom, with a little explosion behind it, we'll honor a critical hit on a 19 or 20. We're going to come out with a +1 magical weapon. Now, the first one we're going to come out with is the longsword. So it's a sword. So if you have both of those together, if you do your math right, you crit on an 18 to 20, and so on. So we have several of these ideas that we want to bring in and release some of these pins. It's just one or two a year, and then at the end of the year, discontinue them. Launch into the next year 2 additional rules, and I tell you, I'm just dying for the day. I cannot wait for the day when somebody walks up and they just have all of their pins from the years, and they just proclaim proudly, "I get to crit on a 3+." I'm just going to lose it. I'm just going to be so excited, and the 20% discount, that's nothing to me. That's nothing. I don't care about that. I am excited to see the excitement of I'm going to get a critical hit. I've got all the pins. I've been collecting them, and I've been a supporter. I'm just gonna just love that person immediately.
When you go to Disneyland, I mean, you see people that have like pins all over their jackets, or they have a sash or a bandolier or their purse. To have something very similar, and you have someone that walks up. And you're like, they order a soda and then they just lift up their bag and you just see all the pins. Then you've done it right. I mean, it's no different than an author that sees one of the characters they've created cosplayed before them for the first time or something.
It's got to be similar to that. Yeah, it's wonderful, just wonderful.
That sounds amazing. I like that idea.
Thank you so much. And it purely comes from a place of. I want everybody to have as much fun as humanly possible. I want them to walk up there and go, I could roll with advantage. I got Bardic Inspiration. I got a +1. I got expanded crit range. I crit, and then they just let loose the dice, and then everybody's watching, and
And imagine them fail at that point. I mean, that would be amazing.
Oh my gosh, you're not wrong. You're not wrong.
I was actually thinking about how everyone's going through the line and they're buying their drinks and they're rolling and they're hitting they're not quite critting, or they're hitting 18s and 19s, but they're not getting that 20. And then this one person walks up there who's been going to your food truck for years. They've been buying your sodas for years. And then they're like, I can crit on a 3. That person becomes like the people's champion at that point, right? Which I think is such an amazing thing about this community. For all the division that we can find in various areas, like even with sports fans, there is a clique effect, and you have your divisions, and even movie fans, as we've seen in recent history, it doesn't matter if you're a Star Wars fan. It's like, well, what kind of Star Wars fan? And there's division everywhere. But when you get to just enjoying this custom soda that is reflective of a fandom that is collectively shared, and then people get to have this challenge where sometimes they have wild success, that builds this implicit community organically. And I think that's just brilliant that you've tapped into that. I love everything about it. Super double high fives to you for that. Well done.
Thank you so much. No, it's amazing. Absolutely. It's a lot of fun, and that's where this comes from. Is just, man, how can we have as much fun, ordering sodas, and delivering sodas?
So in the limited time that we have left, we, especially after speaking with Tracy and having some conversations behind the scenes, as it were, we know that there's something big coming down the pipeline for Critical Hit Soda, and we have to talk about it.
Please.
Can you tell us even just a little bit about the soon-to-be-launched Kickstarter?
Oh, absolutely. So we have a Kickstarter that we're going to be starting here. We're super excited about it. We internally analyze what's the most strategically viable and expeditious way to bring these sodas to cans, and it's a very, very, very expensive process to formulate a trio of beverages and put them in cans and then get them out across the country. It's a very, very expensive process. And so we said, what if we go to our fans? What if we go to the community and ask them for our help? And in return, what can we give to them for their to reward them for their expressions of faith and love and support? And so that's where we said, well, the pin program that we just started, let's launch the pin program. We have some ideas for some really awesome pins. Expanded crit range is a great example. You start off with a 19 to 20 expanded crit range, but as your character progresses in level, that widens. And so we said, okay, for Kickstarter, if we want to sell later on down the line a 19 to 20 for some late adopter or some new devotee of the truck, it's their first time at Gen Con, their first time seeing us, and they can buy the 19 to 20 crit range, expanded crit range pin. But for a Kickstarter backer who is expressing their faith and their love and their appreciation, what if we expanded that out? What if we gave them a one-time Kickstarter opportunity to buy a 17 through 20 expanded crit range?
Whoa.
So there you go. Yeah, and the Bardic Inspiration is also another great example. The Bards start with a D6, a D8, and a D10. We're going to offer Bardic Inspirations down the line, starting at D6, and then some years later we'll do the D8. But for Kickstarter, we're going to start it right out. If you participate in the Kickstarter, you'll have access to gaining the Bardic Inspiration at the D10. So not only do you get to roll a D20, but you also get to add a D10 to that. We're going to have roll with advantage, so you get 2. So if you're keeping up with the math here, you get 2 D20, roll with advantage. You get the D10 to add to that. We'll talk about the +1 sword, so let's put a pin in that for just a quick second.
No pun.
But the creme de la creme of them is that for day one, if you're a day one backer, you get the ultra rare. We presume this is going to be the rarest, but everybody's familiar with the mechanic of inspiration in Dungeons & Dragons, where you get to blow out an inspiration and re-roll your dice. We're going to have an inspiration pin. So you get to re-roll your 2 D20s plus your D10. You didn't get your critical hit, blow out your inspiration, re-roll it again. Nice. Let's go, people. Let's make this happen. So
nice.
Let's get that critical hit locked in. Now for the +1 sword that we're talking about, from now until Gen Con, until the start of the Kickstarter, which, Alton, correct me, we've landed on the date of July 29th? Or
July 31st.
July
First day of Gen
31st.
Con.
Thank you so much. The first day of Gen Con, so Gen Con's first opening day. From now until then, all the events that we're going to go to, we're going to give everybody the opportunity to get the +1 longsword for free. All you got to do is see us at the trailer and pre-register on the pre-registration form, and we'll have a QR code so that you can sign up. You just sign up for the pre-registration for the Kickstarter, and we're just going to be handing out +1 longswords left, right, and center. So keep an eye on our calendar, and we'll be at a lot of really awesome events, and we're so excited to get these out there, just to get people started with the pins. But there's one more concept for the sodas that we really wanted to do, and that is that we wanted. Well, let me put it this way. Okay, art is a fundamental, foundational element of role-playing games. Yeah. We opened up our players' handbooks, when we first got into the game, and we were entranced by the amazing depictions of heroic opportunities and exploits. We opened up the monster manual, and we were just, oh my gosh, these are just amazing pieces of art that depict these fearsome beasts, whether they're a red dragon, whether it's a beholder, it doesn't matter. So art, for me, and ostensibly, I assume for the rest of the community, it's been a huge, huge capacity. It's just honored in such a massive way. So wanting to capture that, I said, okay, so if we're going to can these drinks, we have to put amazing art on these drinks. And so what we decided to do, and our 3 drinks that we're starting with, Silver Dragon, the Owlbear, and the Mimic. Those are the 3 we're going to start with.
The Mimic just tastes like every other soda.
It just tastes like every other soda. Oh, that's
or it might eat you.
That's clever. That's very clever. But no, so we decided that, no, we want full-on artists to depict these things. And so we'll reveal what we're going to be doing here soon. But suffice to say, we went out and we tracked down some amazing artists. Now, locally, there's an amazing artist, and her specialty is dragons. Her name is Caitlin Zupatic.
I know Caitlin, yeah.
You know Caitlin. Fantastic.
Yeah.
She has done our Silver Dragon.
Amazing.
And it looks
wonderful.
Beautiful. And so Dan, I'm sure you can attest to her talent and her amazing artistic skill.
Yeah, in fact, I actually have a painting of hers of a dragon.
You did,
yeah,
or you
yeah.
do. That's wonderful.
do,
That's
yeah.
fantastic. Yeah, so she painted us an amazing silver dragon. We went and tracked down the next two. Should be pretty well known because they've done a ton of work for Magic the Gathering and Dungeons and Dragons. Mark Poole and Steve Argyle are
Steve, too.
doing things. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve's
So,
fantastic.
so then it may be that somebody on this call who isn't Beau already has access to one of these images. Now, I want to make
Not
sure,
me.
Beau, would it be okay if I share that here so that Dan and Krebs can see it, and maybe if there's a lucky dungeon crawler out there who happens to be watching this video, maybe they get an early preview of one of these
I would
pieces
love.
of art
Yeah,
too.
let's go ahead. Yeah, let's go ahead and reveal this amazing piece of art by
Beautiful.
the incomparable, incredible Caitlin Zupatic.
Excellent.
I'm excited for this. I'm excited.
Absolutely,
I
this
wanna
is a
see
world premiere. You guys ready for this? All right,
now I
here
got
we go.
now I got to tag her. Oh yeah,
Oh, holy
Yeah.
smokes!
yeah. She does a fantastic job. I love it.
So Beau, tell us a little bit about this piece.
So here we have a silver dragon, and
Yes.
it's the silver dragon has actually always been kind of my favorite contribution to the monster manual. I guess it is a monster technically, though it is a good monster.
Yes.
But I just remember cracking open the third edition book, and it just being stunned by this amazingly noble representation of this silver dragon, just nobly existing, and so that's what that's what I wanted to achieve with this was this amazing nobleness, and Caitlin just locked it in. She understood it right away, and absolutely knocked it out of the park. So.
Oh yeah. And
No,
this
Silver
is
Dragon.
this and
Sorry, didn't
this
mean to
right
cut you off
here.
there.
Oh, you're good. This right here is one of the reasons why I got so excited about this project, and I'm like, we got to get you on Dungeon Crawlers, because this is an oil painting. This is an artist who sat and took their time and did all of that by hand, and then painstakingly scanned it in and made sure that all this can happen. And this art is going to be on soda cans, and it's going to be professionally printed, and it's going to have all of these other cool things that I don't know if it's time to talk about yet. I'll leave that up to Beau to determine. But this commitment, especially right now where so many people are concerned about artists being shooed out of an industry that has historically created some of the most magnificent works, it is really awesome to be able to be working directly with these artists and see them creating beautiful things that are going to last for a long time.
Yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. It's going to be a thrill to work with these amazing artists. And every artist that I've contacted thus far, and I've contacted a lot thus far, they've all said, "Wow, what an amazing project! I'm booked right now, but please don't lose my contact. Get a hold of me. 6 months, a year down the line, whatever." A lot of these amazing artists are doing a tremendous amount of work. But to that point, I mean, Mark Poole and Steve Argyle, who Dan, I believe he said he knows. Actually, Steve. Let's talk about Steve for a second. That guy is so cool. His wife is amazing.
Yep, I love Kat too.
Yeah, Kat is just incredible. And he was one of my first people that I sent a message to. Because through Critical Hit Soda, I happened to know him. I deliver drinks to him while he's at events, and he and his wife order several times over the course of an event, if not several times a day. But in sending out a message saying, "Hey, Steve, we've got this project. We need some art for it. Do you have some time in your schedule?" He got back to us and he said, "I am so booked right now. I am so busy right now," in his email, but because I love your guys' soda so much and I love you guys, I'm going to make time for you. So he was able to fit us in purely because of we've had such amazing interactions with each other, over a cup of soda. So it's fantastic. So he found time for us.
And Steve's version of Liliana in Magic the Gathering is just stunning.
It's absolutely stunning. Of course, and he's capitalized on that super well. I love his how tall is that Liliana at his booth? Like 15 feet tall.
Yeah,
it's just massive. Yeah, that thing.
And
is...
I have tons of Steve Argyle prints.
Yeah,
I just love his work. It's
wonderful.
amazing.
Yeah, so he is going to be doing our owlbear. That's such a weird sentence to say. He is going to be doing the owlbear for our owlbear soda, and we've already gone through some iterations, and he's working on it right now. And Mark Poole. That guy was super enthusiastic. He didn't know about Critical Hit Soda, but he just thought the project itself was the concept was just fun to use his words. And we eventually got him on the phone, and that guy is the sweetest guy we have ever had the chance to talk to. He was so enthusiastic. We got into conversations about, hey, what can we use your art for, like, art prints? Can we do that? And we were going to go through the process of asking, what can we use your art for, and can we start negotiating to discuss, appropriate, appropriate, what's the word I'm looking for? Help me out. Appropriate
terms,
compensation.
Usage?
That's the word.
Okay.
Compensation. And he just cut me off, and we were on speakerphone, so my wife can attest to this. He just cut me off. It's like, do whatever you want. Just have fun, man. This sounds like such a fun idea. I can't wait to do this. And he was just like, just go for it, man. Sometimes these fun projects come along, and you just got to do them. And so it was such an amazing conversation to speak with him and to hear his enthusiasm and his excitement. So Mark Poole's going to be doing the Mimic. So if we recap, Mark Poole's doing a Mimic, Steve Argyle's doing an owlbear, and Caitlin Zupatic, we just saw the amazing Silver Dragon contribution. But yeah, we're going to have the can. We're going to have that art front and center. As I told Alton back when we first started working together, and he was plumbing me for my passion. Why am I doing this? This component in particular, I said to him, and I do firmly believe this to my core, whether a gamer knows it or not, Magic player, Dungeons & Dragons, board games, it does not matter. If you are a gamer, you are an art fan.
Yep.
It starts with that. That's what fires the imagination. That's what brings you into whatever fandom you follow into, is because the art has grabbed you. So whether you want to admit it or not, whether you're aware of it or not, you're an art fan. And so I wanted these cans to boast art that does that grabs you, that fires your imagination. So that when you see the owlbear just staring at you, you remember that time when you and your party were trekking through the forest, and you hear a twig snap, and you turn to there's an owlbear over there, guys.
Yeah,
he's looking right at us. He's gonna eat us. So, I want that. I want that experience. I want people to look at these cans and know that a great deal of love, care, and appreciation for the community was put into the development of the art and the packaging and everything. So.
Yeah, no, I totally agree with you. It's something I've said for years about the covers of books. It's the billboard for the book.
Yeah.
That art is what speaks to the person to want to pick it up and then see what the story is inside. And if that artwork doesn't convey that message, you just turn away. Same thing, you pick up a board game. If the artwork on that box doesn't speak to you, you probably will put it back and go to the next one. Mm-hmm. So I definitely agree. We're all, whether we like it or not, we are critics of art and fans of it, and that attracts us in. So I love it. That Silver Dragon image is beautiful, and to see that on a can of soda, people are going to go walking down the aisle like, whoa, that was a dragon. They're going to snag that.
Yes,
that's an owlbear.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
that's amazing.
And the layman, of course, everybody knows what a dragon is, but hopefully some kid or some guy, some dad or some is walking down, they see a dragon, but God, what's a mimic, and what's this flavor coming? Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Hopefully that does grab them. So hopefully there is also that opportunity to pull in the uninitiated, as it were.
Yeah. Well, I mean, thanks to the new Dungeons and Dragons movie with Chris Pine. It didn't do as great in theaters as we hoped, but it's doing amazing on Netflix right now.
Right.
But that definitely has introduced a lot of people to an owlbear. I mean, my kids have watched that movie, and they love the owlbear, especially when it hulks out on the the person and just like slams the undead wizardess into the ground over and over.
Absolutely.
So kids, I think, will recognize the owlbear. The mimic might be a little off, but you'll definitely
Right.
get the hardcore fans with that one.
Fantastic.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Very exciting.
All
stuff.
right. Well, we appreciate it. We appreciate your time today and talking about this. This is a fantastic thing. Now, the only thing that I'm going to have to say is we need to get the crew to show up at the truck. I need to taste. Definitely.
True.
But thank you so much for coming on. Everyone, listeners, pay attention. We're going to be giving you more information about the Kickstarter as it comes out. Definitely jump on this because this is a great experience. Not only are you going to get some pins, but there's going to be some amazing soda that you're not going to get anywhere else. I mean, yes, you can go buy a Dr. Pepper, but does that Dr. Pepper have a dragon on it or a mimic? Or do you get pins where you can get a critical hit percentage off? No. So I think we definitely participate in this. But before we go, it's been a while. We're going to hand things over to Krebs.
What, been a while for what?
Well, I'm glad that you asked
Yes.
that question, Beau. You see, this is your first time on DCR. And by the way, we've loved having you on the show, so thank you
Yes.
for doing this with us.
Thank you. No, thank you.
Now, unbeknownst to you, one of our traditions is that the first time that we get to interview a special guest on our show, we put them through the lightning round. Now, I don't want this to be intimidating or to make you feel uncomfortable.
But
There's
it
no
is.
special study. Oh, I'm sure it's not. But
This is the worst.
There's no special studying that has to take place.
You might have to sacrifice a child.
Get
nervous, it's coming.
Right side. I want to ask you a question. You're going to give me the first answer that comes off the top of your head. It is just that simple.
All right.
And it won't last nearly as long as you're worried it will.
And you
All
won't
right.
you won't be thrown into the pit of doom.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited. I can't
Not
wait.
more than once.
Not
All
more
right.
than
So,
once. All right.
all right. So, Beau, are you ready for the lightning round?
Let's kick it.
Oh my gosh! Immediately, Vanilla Ice played in my head. All right. So here we go.
Absolutely.
And here we go. Beau, what is your favorite color?
Black.
What is your favorite soda flavor that you sell?
The Elminster's Elixir.
Do you now or will you in the future sell a mug of holding?
Absolutely.
And finally, Beau, what is your stance on the 1983 sci-fi fantasy film Kroll?
It was a work before its time.
Oh.
Ding, 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 ding. It was ahead of its time. I'm reinterpreting your
Yes,
words.
no,
but
you
that's
got it,
okay.
yes.
Absolutely. Oh, Beau, my man.
You've now
Man.
you have now become Krebs' friend for life.
Fantastic.
I
Fantastic.
think Krebs might actually publish this episode now.
Yes.
Oh, now?
Back and forth before the call. He's like, we'll see how this goes.
Yeah,
But
yeah, Crawl is amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Well, Beau, thank you so very much for being on Dungeon Crawlers Radio with us. I am super excited to see your truck everywhere I go in the future, and I hope to get every flavor of Dr. Pepper that you sell. Thank you for doing what you do, and we really appreciate you.
You guys are awesome. Thank you so much for the invitation to be here, and thank you so much. You guys are amazing.
All right,
and
folks.
Dungeon Crawlers, please make sure to go follow Critical Hit Soda. You can find them on Facebook
Yes.
and Instagram and other places soon. If you get lost, go to criticalhitsoda.com. But looking forward to seeing you on the road.
All right. We're going to sign out and take off now. So, everyone, we'll catch you next time.
And Dungeon Crawlers, tell your story, whatever may come.
And whether you critically hit and get 20% off your next soda, or you pay full price like the rest of us plebes, always remember to be epic and don't suck.
Remember, the Force will be with you, always.
What happens when modern magic, high-tech weaponry, and an unstoppable dragon collide? Find out in the epic audiobook of A Dragon's Fate, brought to life by Daniel and Krebs. This Whitney Award finalist novel will pull you into a pulse-pounding world where a secret cabal battles for power, and a dragon could bring everything to an explosive end. Don't just hear the story. Feel the magic, the danger, and the action. Get ready for a ride you won't forget. Grab your copy of A Dragon's Fate, now available on Audible.
Thank you for listening to the podcast. If you like this episode, please give us a 5-star rating on iTunes, Spotify, or wherever you find us.